Well, hey, Rock, how are you? I'm glad to be with you. And as I got here tonight and worshiped on this side, I realized something about you guys and me. You don't know who I am. Like earlier, they said, oh, you're going to be happy for Brenda to speak. And you were like, I don't know her. And I was like, they don't know me. And so, first of all, I'm honored to be with you. I thank God for you. But I think tonight we should get to know each other. So let me tell you a few things about me. And I'm going to give you my testimony. And then we're going to go home because y'all been in school and you had to travel far and it's late and all that stuff. So here's what I believe about God. I believe that whatever God is doing is not just about me on the stage, right? I really do believe that when God's people come together, it's about what happens with all of us, that I got to bring my A game, but you got to bring your A game, and it's something when we bring our A game together that God moves, all right? So if you hear something tonight and it makes you laugh out loud. If you hear something tonight and it makes you want to say amen, say amen. If you feel like say that, that's right. You better say that. Good. Just do that, okay? Because if you bring your A game, I bring my A game, and God shows up. So since you don't know me, how about I tell you how I got to be your speaker, or at least a little bit about where we're going for the rest couple days together. So I am from Trenton, New Jersey. You heard in the bio, and whenever you hear bios, you just feel like, yeah, she went to school, she does a lot of stuff, but who is she really? So Trenton, New Jersey is where I was born. I'm the second of 4 kids, and I'm the only one that the first one that went to college. So, grew up in Trenton. My mom wanted me to come be a good girl, so I grew up in a religious home, but not necessarily a spiritual home. So, let me explain the difference between that. A religious home is stuff like we go to church a lot, right? And we know what to do on Sunday morning. You get up, you go to Sunday school, you go to church, you listen to church music, the normal kind of stuff. And I was like a goody two-shoes kind of person who wanted my mom to be proud of me. I was good in school, so I went to church, right? But I was more churchy than I was really a church person. And there's a huge difference between being churchy and being a church person, all right? So, I go to college. I go to Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and I am the first one to go to college. I am so proud to be in this college, and I'm a little bit arrogant. So your theme about being humble, like let's get ready to humble, I was anything but humble because I went to a high school that was sort of an inner city high school, and I got really good grades. So at my high school, I thought I was super smart. So when I get to college, the first time we were there, I had this whole new freedom, right? So I'm churchy, and I got a whole lot of freedom where mom ain't there and the family's not there, and you don't have to go to church. Nobody's making me go. You guys understand what I'm saying? All right, mama's not there, church folk aren't there, and I get to be on my own. So I remember the very first new student orientation talk by the president. And this is what he said. His name was Dr. Edward Blaustein. I still remember it to this day. And he came and he welcomed all the new students to Rutgers University. And we're sitting up there with our really super smart selves. And he said something to the effect of, he said there'll be a lot of things that you can do socially on campus, but I would hope that you would not let your social activities outweigh your academic pursuits. And so I was listening to him, sitting somewhere in the middle, kind of like, and really, I thought he can't be talking to me because I was a good student. And I was thinking, oh, please, he must be talking about people who, they don't study well, they didn't get good grades, but, not me. So I sat there thinking, I got this. That night, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity had a show enough party. And I went to that show enough party, and partying became my new way of life on campus. I was a partying sister at Rutgers. They had like ladies' night at a disco. Yeah, it was way back then. And I think Wednesday night was ladies' night. And so we would go and hang out. And then I missed a class because I remember the first time I went to my calculus class and they were doing something that had to do with sets and subsets. And I thought with my arrogant self, oh, I did that in high school. I came back the next week and that woman was on logarithms. I didn't even know what she was talking about. So I was partying, making new friends, but I was falling behind in school, and I knew it. Because I had gotten good grades, they put me in honors classes, but I did not realize that an A from Trenton High School was not the same as an A from private school. And I was competing now with people who had gone to better high schools than I had. You see what I'm saying? Talk back to me a little bit. You guys see what I'm saying? So I think I'm a straight A student or a above average student because my A came from an inner city high school where I did the best I could based upon who I was competing with. But I was competing now with folks who went to Princeton Day School, and they grew up with a certain level of that I didn't have. All right, sound man. All right, sound man. So I had to figure out now, how do I get back on track? But I had friends who were partying with me because in college, you meet people from everywhere else. And so I started hanging out with my party friends. I knew my studies were suffering, but I had Stephanie and I had Sandra and I had all these other folks, and we were dancing. We were the life of the party, and it was kind of on, you know? We thought we were all that. And so here I have Stephanie, Sandra, we going out to party, and then, now don't tell anybody, this is just between me and you, okay? While I'm at school, because I was churchy, I had standards. I had kind of morals. And there were certain things that I said I would do and certain things I just would not do, right? So I said, okay, I might smoke a cigarette, but I'm definitely not going to drink. Now, the interesting thing about stuff called sin, let me just tell you, it kind of grows, you know? So you start doing one thing, and then one thing turns to another thing, and then something else turns to something else, and before you know it, stuff you said you weren't going to do, you doing. I'm here to tell y'all I almost partied my way right out of college. My freshman year was a disaster. But remember, I told you I was the first person in my family to go to college. So just think with me for a second. How much was riding on me doing well? How much was my mom and my family and my church home? How much were they hoping that Brenda was going to make it, that I was going to do well? And they were all pushing for me. Now, none of them had gone to college, so they couldn't help me study. They didn't know how to help me do better, but they were praying for me, and they were hoping for me, and they were sending me love packages to college to try to encourage me in the Lord and what have you. And so I decided I was going to do better because I knew that my partying ways was not going to be able to continue to keep me in college. In fact, I was so nervous about how my grades were slipping. This straight A student got a D, and it wasn't nice. It really wasn't nice, and I was scared to show my mom and them, you know. So I came back my sophomore year with a whole new attitude. I'm going to do better. This is going to shift. I'm going to turn around. But when you got friends who like to party and you get back to school, they feel like, let's pick up where we left off. So, of course, I still kind of go out, but not as much. I'm trying to study now, and I'm trying to get it together, but I still haven't figured out a system to study because my arrogance made me think that I was just smart by, I just was intrinsically smart. I just knew how to be smart. The truth is I had zero study skills, and I had to now try to figure out how to study. But let me tell you, when God jumped into my life and began to turn this churchy girl to something else, it's going to really, really, really surprise you because it surprised me. I was in my dormitory. It was my sophomore year, and it was early in the beginning of the semester. I was walking to the bathroom, and as I was walking to the bathroom, I heard church music coming out of somebody's dorm room. It was on a Wednesday afternoon. Now, I was churchy, so I knew about church music. My mom played church music, but in my mind, there was a certain day you should play church music. What's the right day to play church music? Sunday. I was walking in the dormitory on Wednesday afternoon, and I heard church music coming out of somebody's dorm room, and I thought to myself, who's playing church music on the wrong day? I looked in the dorm room trying to figure out, who is this? I mean, it was like a little surprising to me, like, who's playing church music on the wrong day? So I look inside the dorm room. The dorm is empty. The room is empty, but it's directly across the hall from the girls' bathroom on our dorm floor. So I put two and two together. Whoever's in that bathroom, I bet she lives in that dorm room. So I opened up the door, and in the mirror of that bathroom was this beautiful black woman with this major afro picking her hair. And I thought to myself, she's pretty. Now let me tell you something about the church I grew up in. I grew up in a small Pentecostal church. Now they love God with all their heart. My church could pray like you, let me tell you, if you were sick, they would pray for you till you got better. If you needed a healing or a miracle, they believed. They didn't go to college, but they believed God, and they had a PhD in faith. Yeah, they did. They had a PhD in faith. I want you to know, when they told the devil you got to go, they wasn't playing. I remember one sister said, "We not asking you, devil, we telling you." I was like, all right now. They commanded some stuff, and I was glad to grow up in that church. But one of the things that I got in my head as a young person going to that church was that nobody young actually gave their life to God. That really being a Christian was something that older people did. All of the young people, by the time they got 16 or older, they started leaving the church. And those of us who were churchy, we stuck around, but we really weren't really into it because it looked like you had to be old and you had to be kind of like, right? You had to be kind of, no pants. And I mean, I told you it's a Pentecostal church, and so it looked like you couldn't be pretty and a Christian. I didn't put those two things together. So I thought you sin, do your thing, live nuts, party hardy, knock it out, and then when you get old, you just get right into Jesus right before you almost die. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought you come to Jesus when you ain't had no more life left. You have partied hard as you could ever party, and now, right before you get in, you come on into Jesus. So when I saw this girl in the mirror, so pretty, afro, popping, this beautiful skin, I thought, she can't be the person playing church music, because in my mind, that's not what a Christian looked like. Her name was Margaret. And I became enthralled with Margaret. I loved everything about looking at her, talking to her. I mean, check this. She prayed one day over a candy bar. I was like, no, she don't pray on candy bars. I mean, she was like, God, I thank you for. I was like, I ain't never seen anybody pray over a candy bar. I had never seen it in my life. So I'm watching Margaret. I'm studying Margaret. Check this out. One day, we were all standing in our dorm room. When I tell you that girl was absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, one of the prettiest women I've ever seen. She is still one of my best friends today. We were standing in the hallway, and all these brothers were trying to get close to Margaret because Margaret was super pretty. And so we were all standing out, messing around in the hallway, talking everything. And one brother started cussing, and one dude said, "Yo, man, watch your mouth. You see Margaret standing right here." Now, here was the problem. I was standing right there. Stephanie was standing right there. Sandra was standing right there. But they didn't say, "Yo, man, watch your mouth." Brenda standing right. They were like, "Watch how you talk around Margaret." Margaret carried herself with dignity and class and distinction. She acted the same way all the time, and people respected Margaret. And I didn't realize it, but I started hungering for that. I wanted people to look up to me and treat me with that type of respect. I wanted guys to be careful about how they talked in my presence. They treated her like a queen, and it called to the queen in me. Oh, God, I feel like preaching all of a sudden. I'll save that for tomorrow, I promise. And so I became a double agent. It was almost like I had a trench coat. And when I was with Margaret, the trench coat was on and covered up my sinfulness. And I read scripture, like she would talk to me about the Bible, and I would listen. And if she knocked on my dorm room and I was smoking a cigarette, I would say, hold up, Margaret, 1 second. Poof. I would throw it out, and then I would get some Lysol. I'm coming. And I would spray because I didn't want her to see this other side. So the churchy side hung out with Margaret, and the party girl side hung out with Steph and Sandra and all the folks that I'd been hanging out with. And I was going back and forth, and then I met this dude with Margaret. His name was Tag. What a cool name, Tag. Tag is still my friend today. His first name is Theodore. His middle name is Alexander. And his last name I thought should start with a G, but it's an F, Faison. But his friends called him Tag, and he was a basketball player, and he was cool. Tag was down and cool, and I was like, these are the kind of Christians I want to be around. Christians that are cool and hip and relevant and talking about stuff that young people talk about. So they were my Christian hangout crew. And when I was around them, my trench coat was on, and I would act churchy around them because I knew the drill. I knew how to act churchy, you know? I knew when to stand up and clap. I knew when to look like, like time for tears when they would have the altar call. I knew when it was time to look contrite. I knew how to say yes, ma'am, and no, sir. And my mom raised me with morals and with a sense of manners, and I knew how to use them. So I acted a certain way. I ushered every now and then, I went to Sunday school. I did the right kinds of stuff. But don't let the music start over here. Don't let the dance start going over here. Don't let Stephanie and them say we got to roll, because I was hanging hard. But one day I decided to go home for the weekend because I heard that my church, my little small Pentecostal church, was having a revival. And remember, I'm thinking now that my lifestyle, my double agent ain't quite working, and I'm not going to be able to get good grades kind of holding this down. And I've gotten more and more attracted to Margaret and Tag, and I like hanging out with them. And I don't know. I think like I'm going to stop doing this kind of stuff. I could tell you stories, and I don't want you guys to know too much. But I tell you something, sin is really, really, really insidious. It happens little by little by little by little. And before you know it, you start thinking, this got to stop. Let me say this. I went out one night with Stephanie and them, and it was in September. That's when my birthday is, and they took me to, all right, September in the house. And so they took me out to a concert for my birthday, and it was somewhere near New York City, and I won't even tell you guys all of the stuff because I don't want y'all to know all of the stuff, but I can tell you this. We went to this concert, and this was this guy like sitting 2 or 3 seats from us, and we were dancing and having a good time, and he said, "You sisters get high?" Now, I had my own moral code of ethics, and I didn't know this guy, and so I didn't even kind of say anything to him, but Stephanie and Sandra agreed, and so he passed whatever he was passing, and this is the thing he said that scared me to my core. He said, "Yo, what did you think about that?" And I don't know what they said, but then he said, it was the best opium I could find. In my mind, I said, opium! I couldn't even imagine what that man had just said. And I heard God say, "You're trying to be a good girl in the fast lane, but people don't play by your rules out here." True. True. That's exactly what happened. I've never said that publicly before, but that's exactly what happened. And that was the night I decided, I think I'm going to come on to God. Because this world over here, like, I thought people were supposed to ask your permission before they do stuff like give you opium. So I was like, no, this is not for me. You're supposed to say, would you like to have it? And you say, yes, look. I was like, these people, I don't know who these people are. And God says, you are trying to be a good girl in the fast lane, but these people don't play by your rules. So in my mind, I had made up my mind that I was going to change. That's why I went to the revival. You see, I'm thinking that's what churchy people do. The church going to have a conference, you go to the conference. The church going to have a revival, so you go to the revival. I just kind of thought this is like the progressive process of coming closer to God. Y'all with me? So I go to the revival. It's a Friday night. It's the last Friday night in October. September, I make up my mind I'm going to change. October is the revival. I'm going to the church, and I'm going to go now and start the process of getting. What happened? This is what happened. Now, I told you that I grew up in this Pentecostal church. That's mostly the truth. The truth is, as a young girl, from kindergarten, little girl, to 16, we all went to a Baptist church. And that's the church my mom still went to. But because I wanted a church that was more vibrant, that had more energy and more activity going to it, I met somebody who played piano at the Pentecostal church. And the Pentecostal church I was like, oh, I like this better. I like this better. So I started going to the Pentecostal church because it has so much energy to it. You guys understand what I'm saying? So my mom is still going to the Baptist church, but I'm hanging over here with the Pentecostals who are extremely conservative. But man, when praise and worship got going, it was moving, and I liked that. Plus, I liked the guy that played the piano, too. I'll just mention that little fact. He was kind of cute. So I started going to the Pentecostal church. And that's when I learned how to really, truly play churchy. They used to sing a song in the church that used to say, Lord, I'm running, trying to make 100. That song would make me cry every single time. 99 and a half won't do. And I would cry. Literally, I would get moved. So this night of the revival, my mom says she's going to come to the Pentecostal church with me, because she wants to see what this church is that her daughter has become so committed to. So my mom comes with me that Friday night to the revival at Emmanuel Tabernacle. My mom got on the Baptist church hat. Mama comes in rolling deep with the church hat on. I come in looking churchy. Now, when you have a revival at the church, that means that there is a guest speaker who is coming to run the revival. So the speaker was someone I had never seen or heard in my life. His name was, he didn't say reverend, he didn't say minister, he didn't say doctor. He called himself Servant Luther Blackwell. And he came seriously correct out of the Bible. This man was like explaining stuff out of the Greek and the Hebrew, and I was just like, whoa, this is like unlike any sermon I have ever heard in this little teeny Pentecostal church. This guy was breaking it down and all this kind of stuff, and even though I was super duper impressed with his intellect and his spirituality, I was enthralled. I don't exactly remember what he said as far as all of the facts that he was sharing, but he gave a prophecy at the end of that sermon. Now, a prophecy is a person speaking as if God were talking to you. I don't remember exactly what he said in the sermon, but 30 years later, I can quote exactly what he said at the end of that sermon. He said, and I quote, "There's a young person here tonight who's teetle-tottling the fence. You're on one side of the fence at one time, you're on another side of the fence at another time. God wants you to make a decision for him tonight." And I thought to myself, because I'm sitting by my mama with the church hat on, I said, he can't be talking about me. In my mind, I'm thinking, he must be talking about and then I mentioned some people in my mind, so-and-so and them. And that's the group that sat in the back who looked like they didn't care, who did not appear churchy. And I said, he must be talking about those folks in the back, the young people who don't look like they're trying to pay attention, the ones who don't want to be here, the ones who fall asleep. He must be talking about so-and-so and them. He can't be talking about me because I've been thinking about getting myself together. All of this is happening in my mind. And he said, yes, I'm talking about you. The person who just said to themselves, is he talking about me? Now, I did not have a fan or a handkerchief up in there. But when I tell you I broke out in a sweat in that church, I was like, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus. Because I started thinking this man is going to publicly tell everybody what I've been doing at college. And I thought, oh, Jesus, what you cannot do is tell my mama what I've been doing at this college. This ain't going to work out. I thought to myself, oh, Lord, please don't let him, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I was like, I was so afraid, so terrified that he was going to say, you've been smoking, drinking, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and the whole church was going to hear it. And because I had done such a good job of being a secret agent, a double agent, literally nobody knew that I did any of that stuff. I didn't curse in front of the adults. I didn't smoke in front of adults. I acted churchy. Everybody thought I was kind of a Christian, sort of, kind of. And I could not even fathom what he was going to say. So when he said, yes, it's you, the person who just said to themselves, is he talking about me? I just sat there terrified. My heart was beating. I could feel myself shaking on the inside. I was scared to death. And then a lady 2 rows in front of me stood up. And I thought, whew. I was so happy to see that lady stand up. And he said, no, daughter, it's not you. God has shown me who you are, and I'm not at liberty to call you out. This is a decision you have to make for yourself tonight, and we're not going to wait all night for you to do it. We'll give you 2 minutes to come. 1 minute and 55 seconds. Don't let it be said, too late, too late. 1 minute, 30 seconds. The day you hear his voice, harden not your heart. And he kept doing that. 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. Time's up. Young lady, yes, it was a young lady. God has instructed me to tell you you're going to be like Jonah tonight. Downhill all the way. I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know that much about Jonah. I was churchy enough that I had heard the story about Jonah in the whale. I had the general idea that he got ate up by the whale. Like most of us, right? I didn't know much more about that guy. All I knew is he got ate by the fish, by the whale, and I thought to myself that I have committed the unpardonable sin. And I was just waiting until whatever God was going to let happen to me, whatever calamity God was going to happen to me, my whale. I didn't know what it was going to be, if I was going to get hit by a bus but I felt like God was going to let me be killed because I had missed my opportunity to come to Jesus. And out of all my churchy acting, knowing how to usher right, sing right, sway at the right time, go through the motions, stand up when you're supposed to stand up, raise your hands, cry every now and then, I literally didn't know how to come to God. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know how to come to Jesus. I knew all the stuff, but that night I literally didn't know what you're supposed to do to give your heart to God, your life to God. So I went back to my house and I cried all night long. I literally said over and over and over again, oh God, please don't kill me. 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 I did not know what else to ask. And that was my introduction to the book of Jonah. Over the course of the next 2 days, we're going to look at the story of Jonah. And I want to share with you the book that changed my life. I want to share with you the story about a real man with a messy life who probably has more in common with us than we think. Clearly, I did not get hit by a bus. God didn't kill me. Thanks be to God. That's how come I get to speak to you tonight. But when I tell you I became very, 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 very interested in the book of Jonah, I'm here to tell you I became very, very, very interested in the book of Jonah. And so over the next couple days, I want to introduce you to Jonah, because you might find that not just is my story in the book of Jonah, your story might be in the book of Jonah too. I'll see you in the morning. Peace.